So currently we are at third density level, right? And we are moving into fourth density. This is what's happening now. We are in this process where we are shifting into a new version of reality. And this is just a natural progression of how consciousness and conscious evolution happens. It just goes through these stages. And third density is the density where we are not remembering our past lives, and this is so we can have a free will organic choice and decide on our polarity. This is Mike Sigula from TruthTheory.com, and welcome to another episode of True Spirituality. This is my series on metaphysics, esotericism, mysticism, and spirituality. And if you're new here, please subscribe because this is already episode 34. So if you are someone who likes metaphysics, spirituality, wants to understand true nature of reality, how consciousness works, karma, reincarnation, starseeds, law of one, hermetic philosophy, meditation, any of these kind of subjects, if you are someone who likes these types of topics, you'll definitely enjoy this series. So check out previous episodes as well. And if you want to support this project, go to patreon.com/TruthTheory and become a supporter. You will get access to exclusive content and some other additional perks. And this helps us to create more videos. So thank you. And if you want to work with me on one-to-one basis, I'm actually doing mentoring and coaching online. So have a look at truththeory.com/coaching and get in touch, and maybe we can work together. Initial consultations free of charge, so nothing to lose. And now let's get into today's topic. So why we don't remember our past lives. So let me start by saying that there are some people who remember their past lives, but around 99.9999% of people probably don't remember anything. And another interesting thing is that there's a lot of accounts from children who remember some of their past lives, and this seems to be a common phenomena. So, for example, on Truth Theory, we published 2 articles with accounts of different people, different parents who were sharing what their kids were telling them, and there seemed to be a pattern that quite a lot of kids actually remember their past lives. There are also books written on the subject, there's a bit of research done, but for most of us, most adults, most people, we don't remember our past lives. And there are actually ways to access that memory, or see your past lives or access some of these. So I've been doing a lot of work on that. This is how I've been learning partially about this stuff, how it works. And some of the popular methods are regression therapy, for example. So it's a type of hypnotherapy where they kind of regress you beyond your childhood. And one of the most known researchers in this field was Dolores Cannon. So if you've never heard about her, have a look. I suggest to check out her website and also have a look at her books, because she wrote loads of books on the topic. So if you want to learn a little bit more about it, I suggest to research her and look at her books. One of the ways I was able to access my past lives was through specific sessions with plant medicines, and I would tune into my higher self, and then I would access my previous lifetimes, which I've been doing for a couple of years, and I've been learning a lot about my past, who I was before, which really opened my mind so much because it allowed me to understand some of my current patterns, right? Everything started making more and more sense about my behavior, my habits, and my intuition, all these different things. But this is a topic for another video. We're gonna probably do videos on that. But today I want to focus on why we are not remembering past lives. This is actually designed by the source or collective consciousness, which we are all part of, as a testing ground. So currently we are at third density level, right? And we are moving into fourth density. This is what's happening now. We are in this process where we are shifting into a new version of reality. And this is just a natural progression of how consciousness and conscious evolution happens. It just goes through these stages. And third density is the density where we are not remembering our past lives, and this is so we can have a free will organic choice and decide on our polarity. So one of the basic things in creation is that you have free will and you are either service to self or service to others. And obviously no one is 100% one way or the other. Everyone has a mix of both, but some people might be more towards service to self and less towards service to others. And service to others is just being selfless, right? Helping other people, helping the environment, not thinking about yourself, not doing everything just to get more for yourself, right? Unfortunately, on this planet, many people, if not vast majority, are more into service to self because materialism, capitalism, everyone just wants to accumulate more and more for themselves. So you don't remember because this is like a test ground for you, right? So you can be selfish, even the programming always tells you to be successful you need to accumulate as much wealth, power as possible, money, all these kind of things, right? But that's actually if you want to evolve higher, that's actually not a good thing. So for example, one of the works that I always recommend that I found to be very valuable, and I think it's accurate, at least most from what I've been learning so far, is the Law of One series. And in the Law of One, they talk about how the transition to fourth density has to do with this polarization and percentages, right? So for example, if you are 51% service to self, right? Your actions in this lifetime are 51% or more oriented towards service to self, then you are apparently repeating third density again, right? Because this is the peak. This is your last incarnation before the shift, and you are in a way graduating and has to come back and keep working in third density level. This is what the Law of One says. I actually did a little bit of checks myself on polarities, and when I was doing my sessions, I asked specifically if this thing with percentages is true, and I was shown that yes, there was something about that. There was something about 51% positive, negative. I don't know the exact details, but supposedly if you are 51% negative, service to self, then you're repeating. If you are over 95% negative, right, so you are like really an evil person, or very selfish, then you are actually negatively polarized. So what it means is that you're gonna be incarnating as a negative entity in your next incarnations. You become a fourth density entity, but a negative one. So like, Draco reptilians, for example. You still evolve, you still get more and more advanced, you start remembering your past lives at higher densities, right? But you are service to self. And once you are service to self, it's not so easy to get out of it because you caused a lot of karma already and you're gonna have to repay it if you wanna start getting into positive polarity, right? So 51% positive or more, you are graduating to fourth density as a positive being. And obviously, depends on your evolution, depends where you wanna evolve further. You're gonna be reincarnating in the bodies and worlds where you will be service to others entity. So this is why it's extremely important what you are doing now, because this is gonna affect a lot of what's gonna happen in the future. And especially now, because I've been looking into timelines for a while. I've been asking a lot of questions during my sessions about timelines. Even just a couple of weeks ago, I had a session and I was being shown that the timelines are closing and we have very little time. So basically, the period for polarization is like almost finished, right? You have maybe a few months, maybe a few years, something like that. And this is when the timeline is gonna be formed fully, right, for you. So what it means? It means that currently, the more selfish you are, the more likely you might, end up repeating third density or being a negative entity, but that's only if you are like really, really selfish. And the more service to others you are, the more you will experience the positive timeline, right? So the negative timeline, for example, might be the scenario of an apocalypse, these kind of things that we've been hearing about, right? And the positive timeline is like the new version of Earth, where the world you will be experiencing going to be more sustainable, maybe less depending on capitalism, things like that. No one fully knows how it's going to unfold. There are a couple of different variations, but there's definitely going to be one version or the other. One, it's more synthetic, so transhumanism, these kind of things, technology, because this is the false ego. The other is going to be organic, right? So it's like more aligned with true nature, more aligned with environment, more sustainable. And you, by making everyday choices, are polarizing yourself and deciding on which version you're gonna end up on. So this is why it's so important to be aligned now, so important to raise your vibration, so important to be service to others. And because we are so programmed by this system that is very parasitical and is trying to navigate us towards this negative timeline of transhumanism. Because of that, even think about, let's say, the definition of success today. The more money you make, the more successful you are, right? That's the definition. But that's actually a negative polarity, because to keep making more and more money, 99% of the cases is gonna be like taking from others, using others, taking resources of the planet, which destroys the environment, all these kind of things, right? So that's negative. That's negative. Even though we are programmed that this is okay, it's actually not. It depends, obviously, how you run your business, but it's very difficult to be building a big business and be ethical 100%. That's almost like the dynamics are not there to allow you to do that. So this is an example. Every day you make choices, and these choices now will determine how you're gonna end up. And there's also another interesting theory that I'm hearing quite a lot. They keep talking about how what's gonna happen is that people will be disappearing from your timeline, right? So let's say, I don't know, let's say I'm service to others over 51%, but I have a family member who is like pretty selfish, let's say, right? So apparently what's gonna happen at some point, that when the timeline is gonna split, they will start disappearing from your timeline, right? So this is a theory. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm hearing from different sources about it. So for example, what might happen is that this person is gonna, I don't know, die of COVID, or something's gonna happen to them, or natural cause of death, whatever, or something is gonna happen that you won't be seeing them anymore. This is one theory. I don't know how accurate this is, but that's apparently what happens as well. So because the world will start shifting towards a more sustainable way, this is the time of choice. Your internal state and your behavior will be amplified and reflected in the world or version of reality that you will experience over the next few years. If you want to know a little bit more about raising your vibration, have a look at my previous video, because a lot of the tips and tools I'm giving in that video are actually gonna help you to align with the positive timeline. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and thank you for checking this episode of True Spirituality. Until next time.